Hey guys, welcome to Creativity and Inspiration Art Vlog Day 1. Because it's going to be 2 days. It always is. I'm not going to try to fib to you guys. How's everybody doing? I hope your week after the holidays is going well. I hope everybody's feeling good, enjoying the nice cold weather. It's very cold, and I hope it's just giving you lots of like, whoa, I'm awake in the morning, you know. I do find when it's cold, I wake up, and when it, hits you in the face, you just kind of go, oh, wow, okay, I'm awake, let's go. We're in the summer, and it's kind of warm. It's kind of like, I don't want to get out of bed. It's, it's hot. I don't know. That's me. So this week on our art vlog, what are we talking about? Let me get out my handy dandy card here, and I can tell you. Ooh, we got a good one today. We're going to talk about what I pack for a trip in the way of art supplies. We're also going to talk about how to prep different surfaces for paint. And I think that's going to be a good one. I'm going to talk about, prepping plastic, paper, wood. So there's going to be a wide range of things. And I think everybody will at least get something, if not maybe a lot. Anyway, pretty excited about that. And then we're going to talk about actually painting on surfaces that we've prepped. So there is a lot to share in this vlog as usual. Pretty excited about it. I also want to show you where I'm at in the bear painting so far. And by the time we finish this vlog, we may be done. In fact, I may finish it up on camera with you guys, just so you can see the finished painting. But let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll jump into what I pack to travel for, what art supplies I pack for traveling. And this is, I'm actually unpacking, but, just instead of taking out the suitcase, picture it going in. Same stuff, though. Because I ended up going to my mom's for Thanksgiving, and this is what I took. So I figured I'll film this while I'm unpacking. So if you want to know for any other trips you may have planned, you'll have it. Let's get you all zoomed in on the bear here. Okay, so this is my bear painting. It's part of my solo exhibit. I don't want to say show, because I do want to include a bunch of other artists. And when I say artist, I'm talking theater, dance, artists, photographers. So there's going to be a wide range of creative people in the show I'm putting together. But this is part of that. I'm going to move this bag out of the way. Now, as you can see, if you haven't seen this before, I'll link the last art vlog where I talked about it. But this is a bear, and he's at a lake. So you're having a lot of reflection because it's still no movement. Picture just a gorgeous sunny day, but also picture he's in a forest. So it's like a creek, and there's not a lot of sunshine or clouds. Maybe it's a cloudy day showing through. But you're getting a lot of reflection from the ground and from Mr. Bear there. So I was really happy with all of this. Then I decided, maybe I should put some mud in the grass, which is all this brown in here. And I just don't like how I did it. I don't like how it came out. I'm not happy with it. So I'm going to just take all of that out. I'm going to get my gesso out. In fact, after I unpack my art supplies, what you should pack portion of this video, I'm going to get the gesso out and take all that out. It's also over here on this side right here. I just don't like it. Fortunately, I didn't put it in the water yet, so I only have to erase it off of this part. Once I get all of that out, I'm going to go back in with the green, and then all of these spots you see are going to be little white flowers. I just put those in kind of as placeholders so I could get an idea of where I wanted them. But I've got to get all this paint, all this brown mud out because I just don't like the way it's in there. And I'm going to pretend like it's kind of a drought. That's why so much of the bank is showing, and there is no mud there. You know, when you paint, you can assume whatever factors you want to. My bear has his full face now, but nothing's painted in, so that will also be what I finish. If you notice, I've got green here, which there will be more dark green coming up to just right at the tip of the bear, going across, but then after about this mark right here, the green retreats farther back, and you see how it's way far down here, so it's going to show up here. But this is farther back, so the green does not show up on this side at all, just the lighter green. That's where the bear is at. Like I said, I will show you when I gesso it, because that's, again, a great way if you don't like something in a painting you've created. That's a great way to erase it out without having to start over, because I love everything about this painting.
So what do you do when you don't like something, like all of this brown in here and over here? You take your gesso and get rid of and repaint it. That's what I'm going to do. And there we go. It's that simple. Now once that dries, I'll go over it with my green paint and it'll look amazing.
But now let's go. What do you pack if you're an artist? Or what does an artist pack for a trip? And I'm going to show you what I pack as an artist. And I've already unpacked some stuff because honestly, I had to have my computer and my iPad. But I'll show you what it was packed in. Okay, we'll just start with that. I always take, oops, my head is cut off. I always take my computer and my iPad. My iPad was from my mom. She didn't like it. It's one of those big ones. And my daddy bought it 4 years ago. She didn't like it, never used it. So she's like, do you want it? I'm like, yes, because I use it for Procreate. So I always carry that and my computer. So I put those in my favorite pink backpack, and that's what goes in here. And then if I'm reading a book right now, I'm reading a book about David Hockney. So I take my book, I'll take a few magazines, and that's what goes in my pink backpack. Now, in my Chicago bag is where all the good stuff is. But before we get into that, before we get into the art creation tools, what do we create on? And what I did was I took 3 different sketchbooks. You can take any size you want. These are just the ones I took this time. If I was maybe flying or going on a trip with less space to pack, I wouldn't take the bigger ones. I would take my smaller sketchbooks. But because I knew I had space on this trip, I took the larger ones. So, of course, your space, traveling will determine the size of sketchbooks and how much you take, obviously. So I took the small one that I got from the dollar store. Dassos, I think it is. I love that store, and I will hold on, okay, I took the small sketchbook that I got, and I actually didn't use them, but that doesn't mean I won't take them again. whenever I go. I remember this. This is from our last art video, and I'm actually getting ready to do another one of these in my really big sketchbook. That was my plan, but you know, when you go and you haven't seen family for a long time, you're kind of busy doing a lot of stuff. So, but I took this one, which is the A4 size. I took the B4 size. And then I took the really big one, which is 12 by 16. And like I said, I'm getting ready to do that where I paint the background and then go back and create the flowers from that. And this one, I'm going to do that a little bit different. If you want to see that, leave me a comment down below, and because I might film it and I can always stick it in another vlog if you guys want to see it. If not, you know you'll see the finished product. So those are the 3 sketchbooks I took, and again, depending on size, depends on what I would take, but I lied because I'm looking in my bag here, and guess what? I took all my sketchbooks, because here's the other 2. I was going to my mom's, you know, hey. So I took my 7x7 and my little one. Again, if I was traveling and I didn't have a lot of space at all, I would probably just take these 2. They're both hardcover and be done with it. But when you go to mom's, you know. Okay, now, what else did I take? I kind of took a little bit of every medium because I never know what I might want to create with. That's why I always take my iPad. That's a digital medium to create with. I took my Stampers Big Brush pens from Faber-Castell. I've had these for multiple years. So I took these because I just love the colors on them. Of course, I took my oil pastels. I took my new favorite watercolor pencils. I took my watercolor. This is from Amazon. I took my watercolor. I took my water plastic cup, which it's all been up and broke. So I'm definitely going to have to get a water travel cup, you know, for when I do watercolor. A water travel cup. I have one for my dogs, you know, a little travel water bowl dish. So I'll just have to get one for my paint. I took a little paint tray. I got a whole stack of these from either Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and I think it was like $1. And then I did take a couple of very small canvases. I took some 4x4s and some 4x6 flat panel canvases, just in case maybe I painted something I wanted to give it to my brother, not as a gift, just a gift to him. Something small because he lives in assisted living and doesn't have a lot of room. So I took those. And that's it in here. And you might be going, wait, I thought you took a little bit of every medium. I did. At some point, somebody given me this for makeup. It's great. It's the only ungreat thing about it is it doesn't have a handle on the top of the lid, just on the sides. But this is great. It doesn't smash. I don't have to worry about anything spilling because if it does, it's contained, okay? This is where I put my acrylic paints. And my pencils, because I didn't want my pencils to get broken in that bag. I also took this, and the reason I took the toilet paper roll holder is, let me show you. I just need to grab a brush. I took this because if I'm painting at my mom's and I just want to put my brush somewhere, oh, you can't see that. I took the toilet paper roll, used toilet paper roll, because if I was at my mom's painting and I just want to set my brush down without making, you know, a mess. Look at that. It's a brush holder. I love doing that. Even if I just put clean brushes in it, I could put my clean brushes in there and grab them when I'm done. But the beauty is I could put my wet brushes in there too. They don't get on any surface. I could set them on a piece of foil or a piece of plastic wrap, you know. Anyway, they're great for that. So, and I figure if it got squished, it's easily replaceable. So that's a little tip trick there. And then in here, I took every paint color that I like to paint with. I took my greens. I took oranges, purples, blues, pinks. I took every color because yellow, black, and of course black and white, I took them all. They're all here. Creams, reds, every color. Tans, I mean, seriously. I'll come over there so you can see. Let me take out my pencils. Oops. And my paintbrushes. And I'll show you the paint portion. I'm not going to take them all out now, but you'll be able to see. I just took a bunch of paint. And I like it because they all fit real nicely in here. They stand up. And like I said, if they spill, they spill. It's all contained in there. I won't be happy, but I won't be super upset. Paintbrushes, what size did I take? Well, basically, I took 2 big ones, a bunch of medium, and a bunch of small. Anything in between from little in that area. Because I like, this is my favorite size of brushes right here. But I did take 2 of these as well. And then my pencils, this is, I've shown you this before. This is just some good pencils, a little pencil sharpener, an eraser, and some charcoal pencils. And that is it. That is what I pack. So I do pack a lot. Now, if I was traveling, say, on an airplane, this would be way, you know, of course, pulled back. I'd have one, I would take, if I was flying somewhere, I would take, you know, 1 large, 1 medium, and 1 small. I would take 3 paintbrushes. I would take the 2 small sketchbooks. I would take my colored pencils and my watercolors and my pencil bag. And that would be it for packing if I was flying. It would be very scaled back, very simple. So if I was getting on an airplane, I want to show you this. This is what I would take right here. These 2 sketchbooks, my watercolors, my colored pencils, my drawing pencils, charcoals, and 3 paintbrushes. That would be it. But this was going to my, and of course I would take still my computer and my iPad, just because those go with me everywhere. But everything else would stay. But because I was traveling in a vehicle, I had, you know, the room, I took way more. You know, gotta love Mom. She puts up with me and my art stuff. But anyway, guys. Hey guys, welcome back to day 2 of our art vlog. How's everybody doing? I hope you had a great Monday and your Tuesday has started off beautifully. It is gorgeous outside. So yeah, not too bad of a day. Had to go to the doctor this morning, just normal CRPS stuff, but was told that having any kind of procedures or operations where they cut me is not a good idea, which means this ovary might just have to stay, which I am not happy about, but it's fine now. So I don't know, it might not even be the ovary anymore. It might be my CRPS thinking, you know, it's playing a joke, because it'll do that. It mimics pain. Craziest thing. So if you have CRPS, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't, be thankful. Okay guys, so the title of this was obviously Art Supplies to Pack, or in our case, we unpacked, but I would pack those same things again. The other part of this was prepping different bases or just prepping different things you want to paint. And when I say different things, I mean different surfaces. So today we're going to talk about prepping something like cardboard, some wood, and some plastic. And then if you guys have anything else you might want to prep, leave me a comment down below and I will answer that in our next art vlog. And before we keep going, if you are here for the journaling stuff, the junk journal, the paper crafting, have an awesome one for you on Friday. I'm super excited about it. It is a junk journal that combines a lot of stuff, but it makes journaling for those that just have a hard time journaling easier. So come back for that. Okay. So we are day 2 of the art vlog, and first I want to talk about painting on cardboard. And any time you paint on something that is absorbent, okay, and that can be anything from if you paint on fabric, cardboard, wood, anything porous, it's going to soak up your paint. And you don't want to do that because then you're going to have to put more and more and more layers of paint down, right? So the best thing you can do is prime. And my philosophy on priming is, because I would use the same primer on cardboard, wood, and fabric. Those 3 things I would use the same primer on. If I'm going to be priming a lot of stuff, I'm going to go to a hardware store and pick up a pint size of primer, okay? Because it's expensive, but it's cheaper than buying a size of gesso this size. And I would probably need at least 2 because, again, these items are porous. They're going to soak up some of it, so I might have to prime them twice. If I go buy a primer from a hardware store, I'm probably going to only have to put 1 coat, and I'll have more money because it won't cost me as much. So depending on how much I'm going to do, depends on what kind of primer. But basically, I'd go buy kilts. I've used kilts. I have special ones. Mostly, I get the original water-based one and prime everything. Walls in my house. I would prime cardboard, wood, just anything. I even used their tile primer to paint tile in one of my kitchens. Not this one, doesn't have tile behind the sink. But one of my other ones, I used to live in a different part of Carrollton, and there was pink tile in the kitchen, and we didn't have the money to have it redone. So I bought tile primer, primed it, painted it, never had any problems, and it got wet all the time behind the sink. So that's why I say I would go to the hardware store. Now, if I'm just going to do one item, or if I'm going to do canvas, then I'm going to use gesso. But I would recommend, if you're going to do the primer, even though it's water-based from the hardware store, I'd do it outside. Inside, that's fine. I would just put a fan on because to me it smells. But I do have that thing where I have migraines. So even like very faint smells that people normally don't notice, I notice. That's just me. But if I'm going to do my canvas, always gesso. Always. So cardboard, I would just prime it and see if I need to put another coat. Most likely you won't, depending on which primer you use, because it soaks it up. Same thing for wood. Now, if the wood is slick and smooth and has a gloss to it, I'm going to hit it with sandpaper first. I want that gloss gone off that piece of wood before I prime it. And then I'll prime it. Might have to prime it a second time, and then it'll be ready to paint, except paint. Now, some of you may be going, well, if I'm going to, sand it and knock the gloss off, why do I need primer? Because it soaks up. Because wood is porous, and it's going to soak up your paint. So the primer is the barrier to keep it from soaking up your paint. Also, I think when you put the primer down, you get a more even color and coating of your paint, which is going to save you money as well. How you like my foot? I'm excited. This is going to be in an art show, not the solo one I'm putting together right now. A different solo one that I'd like to do in the future. I have two of these. One is like this and one is just like this, and I am going to use these. They will be primed eventually. Super excited. Found these as a state sale, guys. I think it was $2 for, it's a set for some shoes. They used to stretch or make shoes hold, not stretch them, but make shoes hold their shape. And now we just throw our shoes in the closet and don't worry about it. But back in the day, shoes were made better, and you didn't buy shoes like we buy shoes now. And you wanted them to hold their shape and last longer. So they used wooden shoe forms. And that's what these are. Some people still use these today. So yeah, those are great, aren't they? But we don't use those anymore. Also, what I'm going to paint that's wood is this. And this is a vintage tennis racket holder. And I love it. It's going to be it's going to go with the shoes, actually. And again, I would sand it because it's old and it's dry. But even new wood soaks up paint. So you want to make sure that you prime wood. Anything porous. And if you're not sure, do a little test swatch and see. And you'll notice a lot of the paint just it dries real quick and it soaks in and it's not sitting on top, nice and even, nice and pretty. Okay, what are we doing now? Plastic. All right, here we go. Okay, well, I was going to show you, it's a plastic dress form that I got off of Amazon. I'll list it down below. For plastic, that is a special primer. Now, people do use gesso, but the dress forms are probably like my height from like right here to my shoulders, maybe even, let me see if I can get it out. Hold on. I can't get it out. It's going to take a lot of work. But plastic has its own special primer, and I would use it because a lot of stuff, when it dries, it can just peel off of plastic. So again, what I'm going to do before I paint the dress form, I'm going to sand it down to create a tooth, a grit to it, and then I'm going to come back with a special plastic primer. Now, yes, that's a little more costly because I am going to buy two separate primers, but my time and my art is depending on it. So to me, it's worth it. Everybody has to make that decision for yourself. Obviously, if you're creating something to sell, you're going to want to make sure it looks its best and doesn't peel apart, because that's your reputation, right? So definitely it would be worth the expense if you're going to do plastic to purchase a plastic primer. And that is a tongue twister. And again, I would just sand it down and put the primer on, let it dry, and then paint however you want. That's what I'm going to do. And of course, you guys will be brought along when I do all of this. This is coming up after I finish the solo show I'm currently working on, get funding, and get it all in place. Okay, so that's plastic. Metal, if you wanted to paint metal while I'm standing here with this by my side, of course I would never paint this. This is a gorgeous vintage copper, like for firewood. You could clean it up inside, maybe clear coat it inside. You could put blankets in there. Great, great, great. But anyway, if I wanted to paint this, I would get a primer for metal. Again, because of the special properties. And the reason I'm doing a primer, metal is not porous. So why am I doing a primer? Because I want my paint to stick to it. I don't want my paint to peel off. That's why. It's just like priming metal patio furniture. How many of you have painted metal patio furniture, didn't prime it, and the paint just like peeled off or just washed off or something like that really fast? Now, a lot of times when you paint metal, you can buy those spray cans that are a combo of primer and paint all in one, or they have colored metal primers now that a lot of people just paint that with for patio furniture, which is great. And you could do that. It's, you know, everything's personal choice. Everything is, what do you want? How do you see it? And that's fine. I'm happy with everybody, you know, doing what makes you feel most comfortable, of course. Okay, let's see. So that's how you would prep different surfaces. Now the paint you put on top, again, if you were painting metal, you might do an all-in-one. If you were painting plastic, a lot of those are all-in-one. Same with paint for walls. I can get a primer, paint, color all mixed together now. Makes it simpler. But when I'm creating art on canvas or on wooden forms, plastic forms, cardboard forms, whatever I'm creating on, I want them to be separate because I'm going to put multiple layers of color. I'm going to put multiple colors. So it's just really what you're doing and your personal preference. Okay, guys, well, I think now we'll go back inside because it's actually warm out in this garage today. I don't think it's warm outside so much, but it is warm in here. Whew. Hot, actually. Okay, guys, I am going to organize this space this weekend, and I'm going to bring you guys along. I actually got 2 organizing books from the library because, I don't know, organizing is just not my thing. I like to be organized, but, and I really want, like, paper crafting and art to all be where I can get to it easily. I don't know, I have a lot of stuff I'm doing. I need everything to be accessible, so I need it to be organized better. Hey guys, so we are back out in the garage. I know, we gone in, but we're back now. What I have here is a piece of watercolor paper, and what I've done is gessoed it on one side and let it dry. And I thought, we were talking about how gesso is a primer and it's always underneath the paint. But gesso can be the star of the show too, and I want to show you how. So again, I have a piece of watercolor paper that I gessoed the top, and it is all dry. And if you can't recognize which side you've gessoed and which side you haven't, you can always leave a little mark on the back just to help you know which side is which. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put this down. Again, it has gesso on it. And on this little paint tray, I'm going to put some black paint. Again, I'm using black just so this will show up really well. In my red Solo cup, I have some water. And then I have some 91% isopropyl alcohol, but you can also use 70%, that's fine, and a dropper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill my dropper up with alcohol before I do anything else. Okay, and I'm just going to set that down for a minute. Now I'm going to get my brush, my glasses, and I'm going to get my brush. I'm going to put my paint on my little paint tray here. Big old bit. You don't have to use that much if you don't want to. But I just put a big old blob down. And I'm getting my paintbrush really wet, and I'm putting it in that acrylic paint, and I'm going to dip it back and forth. Lots of water. Lots of water. You want it really wet. Okay, and then I'm going to paint on my canvas with the gesso. So yeah, the gesso's under the paint again. Lots of water on my brush. Okay, now that's how it looks. And I'm going to come in with my alcohol and just drop it down. Okay guys, so I've got a really wet brush, and I'm getting acrylic black paint, and I'm just putting it on the dry gesso on my watercolor paper. I'm just making sure I get as much of this paint as I can on here. And now I'm going to take my alcohol while my paint is still wet. Let's see. Hey Siri, flashlight on.
Okay, I turned flashlight on.
Can you see the little blooms where the alcohol is coming through the acrylic paint there? Now sometimes if you have super high-end gesso, it makes really, really, really good blooms. See the blooms there? And if you flick it, it'll make little dots. Now my gesso is not that high-end. My watercolor paper is not that high-end. But you get the idea. And if you have really good high-end gesso and watercolor paper, you will get really good blossoms. You also have to make sure that the gesso is 100% dry. This was, but I think the quality, but see, you can see the blooms underneath there, and it's just really cool. And you can layer on this and then create more and more. It really is a cool effect. That is also a cool way to get effect, is to lay it down, put your alcohol down, and then lift your alcohol up. Kind of looks like a Rorschach ink blob test. But do this outside because the alcohol is very smelly. I'm going to try some more on this end down here. I have a little bit of a spot left. Again, I'm using a lot of wet paint. Everything's very wet. Now I'm going to come back in with some more alcohol on the side I just laid down over here. If you see, the alcohol that was already there is starting to eat through it, but let's see. Oh, there it goes. Look how good that is, guys. Okay. Let's see how pretty those blooms are. Those came out really good. So let everything dry super good. But look at that. Those came out super pretty. You could make flowers out of those. You could, make bugs. You could just do a whole sheet like that. But that's how you create art with gesso, alcohol, and wet acrylic paint. I'll write the instructions down, but see, it bloomed. It blooms. I just love that. And you can wipe it away and you get cool effects too. Just make sure you take a clean paper towel, and wherever you have excess alcohol, dab it if you want, and it'll create its own patterns as well. Let's go back over it again and see if we can get more, because you should be able to layer this up. So I'm just layering this back over it, but it has to be over our dried gesso base. If it's not on our dried gesso base, it's not gonna work. And then let me get my stopper of alcohol ink. And there you go. And it's blooming again in the center. Where'd my flashlight go? See the new blooms coming up after I repainted over it. So gesso can, oops, you're getting a glare. There they are. See, there's the new blooms right there. And then here's some again over here. So it's just a cool effect, something different. It's a nice layering and way to get texture on art if, you wanted to create a different kind of texture on your art piece. This is a great way to do it. Also, dabbing with the alcohol on the paper towel also gives you interesting shapes. My favorite though is the blooming, and I call it blooming because it looks like flowers. Let me wipe up everything and clean up my mess, and then we will go in and talk a little bit more. So guys, I hope you thought that was cool. I love doing that, and I love showing tips and tricks. That was Liquitex gesso, so that's actually a really good gesso. Maybe it didn't have time to dry all the way, and it could have been my paper, because as soon as I put the alcohol, it just should have all started going crazy like it did on the side when I went back. Probably not dry enough. You have to make sure your paper is 100% dry, so I would do it one day, let it dry overnight, and then do the blooms with the alcohol. That's just me. But anyway, that was fun, and you did get to see on the side really how it looks, so I'm excited. Let's see. I've got to go do a fitness workout, but I want to finish you guys up. I want to make sure I've covered everything I was going to cover. I want to do a painting for you guys on paper, and I want to do it where I show you some different ideas besides just painting on canvas, where I don't want you guys to be afraid to manipulate, but canvas, it's hard to do that on, and I think next week we'll do a paper art piece, but we're really going to get in there and create something really cool, I think. I'm also going to dig out the dress form for you guys and kind of talk to you about what I'm going to do with that too, I think, next week. Anyway, guys, I hope you've liked this video so far. It's kind of all over the place, but that's kind of how I am. When I'm doing art, there's so many things I want to create, so many projects, and like I'm honestly trying to set up 2 solo shows, but like I said, they're not really solo shows. So I don't know, 2 big shows. Oh, I also want to talk about using brushes, that the different effects different brushes can have, and the quality of brushes. That is going to be next week, because this one's going to be long if I go into that, because that's like a whole day. Alright, well, I guess we'll finish this with me finishing the bear, because I want you guys to see a finished piece of art on here. Okay, guys, so there's the bear, all happy. I've got to put the flowers in on the green grass. If you can see all the light green, that's supposed to be the tall grass, and the dark green behind it is just the base, because when I put it with the white, it just looked really bad. Then down here, I'm going to flip it over. Okay, this is the reflection. As you can see, I didn't bring the dark green all the way down, because this is so far back in my painting that in reality it wouldn't show up here. So this is only going to be this color with the light green and the flowers reflected. Same with over here. If you notice, between the bear and his reflection, I put in the dark navy. That is going to be the color of the water, and it's going to hint through in places. It's not going to be solid, because then the green wouldn't show up. Mostly I'm going to paint the green like I did here. Come in with a light green for the grass, just like here. But I'm going to leave little spots where I can throw in the water, so like maybe it's moving a little bit, and to keep it like you know you're looking at the reflection, but it's going to be 99% reflection, if that makes sense. If you notice, I came back and darkened up my trees, kind of hopefully they match a little better now. I thickened up all my tree trunks because they were kind of thin. Still got to put an eye and nose on my bear, maybe some, fur, kind of define his little ear a little bit better. I did put a little darker streak down the back. I mixed the bear color myself. I mixed yellow and brown. This yellow and this brown. And I need to go back in and mix some more so I can take out that dark strip, because I really just want the feet to look muddy, and so I've got to fix that. But here's the deal. If you're new to mixing, or you're just mixing your own color to get a color you like, write down how many drops of what colors you use so you can replicate it. I didn't do that, and it's going to be just, oh, I hope this works, or I will end up painting both bears all new colors, which is fine. That's fine too. I've done that several times. But if you're new to all this, remember to write down your mixture. It just makes life easier.
So, guys, I finished the bear.
So, guys, head over and check out my art website. You can get the great, awesome postcards over there. Oop, I'm dropping stickers right and left. You can get these awesome postcards over there. Also on Etsy, if you want to order through Etsy, do that, because I have an Etsy shop and it's listed down below too. This is the winter one. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I also have the awesome mushroom one. So guys, head over there and order, because this is all there's going to be. Just like the stickers too. Get your stickers and your postcards while they're here, because once they're gone, they're gone. And I love those too. They're so cute. If you follow me on my artist Instagram, head over there. I did a little story this morning. I was drawing on my iPad, and that's kind of how I start my day. Plus, I am still doing the 365 challenge. I just didn't want to, bug everybody with it every day. So if you head over to my Instagram, you'll be able to see everything I've done digitally in the mornings. Well, you'll see a snapshot, because every morning before I get up, while I'm waiting on my meds to kick in so I can get out of bed, I draw on my iPad. That has been just the best, because it's easy. I don't have to have a bunch of things in bed. I just have my Apple Pencil and my iPad, and I can just sit there and draw to my little heart's content. So check that out. Links are all down below. Guys, take care. I hope you enjoyed this video. We've got a lot of cool things coming up in next week's videos. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.